Trustee Bertelson.
Excused.
Trustee Black.
Here.
Trustee D.
Here.
Trustee Lucine.
Here.
Trustee Moran.
Here.
Trustee Neal.
Here.
Trustee Sandy Wilson.
Here.
Trustee Sarah Wilson.
Here.
Thank you. As we come together this evening, we pause to acknowledge the loss of BHS and BCA senior Ferguson Rooney. Our heartfelt condolences go out to the Rooney family, friends, classmates, and staff members. During the difficult time, we stand together as a community in support of remembrance. Following the Pledge of Allegiance, we will remain standing for a brief moment of silence for Ferguson and his family. Thank you very much. Welcome to the February 28th Bozeman School District Board meeting. Thank you for joining us. Public comment will be taken throughout the meeting on agenda and non-agenda items. During public comment, no member of the public will be allowed to comment on contested cases or other adjudicative proceedings or personnel matters. The public portions of this board meeting are being recorded in accordance with District Policy 1420 and Section 2-3-214 MCA. By remaining in the meeting, all participants and attendees acknowledge that they may appear on the recording, which will be placed on the school district's website for a minimum of 1 year from today. Further instructions about participating will be provided throughout the meeting. Before we engage in the business of the board, we would like to share the core purpose of the Bozeman School District, which can be found on the back of our nameplates, as well as to the left of me. It reads, Bozeman Public Schools exist to ensure a high level of learning for all students. All right, getting into our meeting, we'll go to 2.3, recognition of awards. I think, Greg?
Motion to remove item 2.3.1 from tonight's agenda. We'll have to add it to a future meeting agenda. Mr. Halverson is under the weather tonight.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Trustee Neal, seconded by Trustee Moran. Any public comment? All those in favor? Motion passes 7-0. All right, up next, Mr. Ader.
Good evening. We're going to start talking about speech and debate. I will introduce our two coaches, Miss Jackson for Gallatin High will speak about the Gallatin High speech and debate team, and then I'll have Mr. Thane speak about the Bozeman High speech and debate team. And then I'll remind them to everybody to stay up here afterwards.
Does this work? Oh,
That one
perfect.
does. Yep.
That's it. Sorry, it's kind of awkward for me just like sit and stare at you.
And then
hi.
just a minute. So if you're standing behind a column, I know it might be comfortable, but most of the trustees would like to see you guys. So if you can get in front of a column, that would be great.
Or you guys can like.
You guys can
Some of you guys can
spread
go over
out this
here
side,
too. Show Sophie some love
Yeah.
over here.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I'm Shelby Jackson. I am the head coach for Gallatin Speech and Debate. And up here with me are some of our great talents from our team. We've had a fantastic season. We actually broke a lot of our records this year, and even though we had a smaller team than we've had in the past, we had 55 members on our team. We've had one of our best seasons thus far. We have had another state champion. That's 3 state champions in 3 years, which is incredible for a young program such as ourselves. We have 2 people going to nationals, which is fantastic, especially after they decreased how many people were allowed to send to nationals. And so in years past, it was the top 3. And so we have 2 wonderful students who are going to be going to nationals this year. And then we also have 4 academic All-Americans, which are the top 2% in the country from the National Speech and Debate Association. And so I'm going to pass the microphone to the kids so that way they can just introduce themselves, what event they're in, as well as their grade level and how many years they've been doing speech and debate. So I'm going to start with you, Ezra.
Hi, my name is Ezra Graham. I do Lincoln Douglas debate. This is my 3rd year in debate. I'll pass it to
Hi, I'm Montana Gwynn. I'm a senior. I compete in original oratory and memorized public address, and this is my 4th year in speech and debate.
Hi, my name is Evie Taylor. I compete in policy debate. I'm a senior, and I've been competing for the past 4 years.
Hi, I'm Cole Fisher. I compete in both HI and duo, and if you count middle school, I've been competing for at least 6 years.
Hi, I'm Sophie Kellum. I'm a senior, and I compete in Lincoln Douglas debate. Oh, and I have for the past 4 years.
And so Sophie here is our first ever state champion in Lincoln Douglas debate. She did an amazing job this season. She comes to us from, was it Havre? Roundup. I don't know why I was saying that. It was from Roundup. So she got to have like a nice little culture shock from going from the ABC to the AA. Cole Fisher here actually went the furthest anyone has had on our team in interp in his event at state, taking 6th. Evie Taylor consistently was in the top for policy debate, and she is one of our academic All-Americans, and she has some of our highest points. Montana Gwynn here is also double entered in both MPA and original oratory, and she is also one of our highest point getters for the season for consistently being in the top 3 at most tournaments. And then Ezra is one of our wonderful NatQuals going to nationals. He's also an academic All-American as well. And so very proud of all of these wonderful faces. Miles Minders unfortunately could not be here tonight. He had a scheduling conflict, but he is one of our first ever getting in top 4. So that's all state at the state competition. He placed 4th in impromptu and 5th in extemp at state, and he's also double qualified for nationals in both international extemporaneous speaking and United States extemporaneous speaking, and he will be competing in international. And so I'm just going to open the floor up to you guys because I don't really have much more to say at this point.
Well, thank you for all you guys did this year. Congratulations. Thank you, Coach. Is there any comments from trustees? I think what we'll do is we'll probably have you guys go have the Hawks come up, and then you guys can, and then at the end we'll do the recognition. So, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Thane, welcome. Come on up.
Thank you.
Yeah. We'll see if they pass the test. I gave them instructions a few seconds ago. I hope they listened. I don't think we were in here yet. Ah, you guys were in here. Yeah, you guys can fill in preferably in front of the column instead of behind it. We can all be friendly.
Okay, so this is actually a fairly small group for us this time because it's a really hectic week. I think we've got play rehearsals and play tryouts and various other things going on. But with me are some of my assistant coaches. This is Max Hatton, who's been one of my longer serving assistant coaches. That's Riley Scott, who hustled over here from helping with auditions for Mamma Mia over at Bozeman High. Sparta Evans is up at MSU getting an art teaching degree. Jake Hoskins, of course, teaches English at the high school. Not pictured are Emily Daniels, who is flying a plane somewhere, I think, and Haley Vidmar, who had a rough day today. Sorry? And Chris Warren, who's a teacher at Sacagawea as well. Then, obviously, a small portion of the state team are here at the moment. You have Meredith Waterman over there. She competed in public forum debate. Gracie Dice is a policy debater. Isaiah Carlson is a Lincoln Douglas debater. Also a Lincoln Douglas debater is Cooper White. Adam Bukowski is a legislative debater. Avery Harris is a policy debater. Owen Burnett is a extemporaneous and impromptu speaker. This is Owen T. Burnett. I have to specify that to our secretaries all the time because there are two different Owen Burnetts who are both sophomores at Bozeman High. And so next to Owen is Mitchell Rast, who actually is a national qualifier in congressional debate. Then we have Lily Krosky, who does oratory and informative. Ryan Lofsgarden is a legislative debater. Aki Patterson is an interpreter. River Myers, also an interpreter. Ray Clark, one of our freshman phenom this year. I think you took second at state, is that right? And will be coming to nationals as well? That's all right. I don't hate to be corrected. Then we have Jet Berger behind, who's a legislative debater, Phoebe Cross, who is a policy debater, and Tommy Meltzer, who is a short prepper, so extemp and impromptu. We had a fairly good season this year. Started off with recruiting. I think we had 68 freshmen join this year, so more than 1 in 6 freshmen at Bozeman High are on the speech and debate team this year. It's a fairly good recruiting year. That put us at 147 who were either paid or got scholarships this year to compete in speech and debate, which I think would put us only behind track in numbers of Bozeman High. So pretty good team, pretty good group. These are mostly upperclassmen who then also help mentor that huge crew, and we kept them together, I think, mostly. Only lost 1 or 2 in, rest stops here and there, and, mostly made it through intact, so that was good. State championship was the capper. This is the first time in 39 years that any non-Kalispell team has won any speech and debate tournament in Kalispell. So taking state there in Squeaker was pretty good. Then national qualifier, we qualified 28 people. We have 24 academic All-Americans, something on the order of 16 All-State, 5 state champions. So fairly good year for us this year. Yeah, we'll be heading to Richmond, Virginia in June. And I think we'll do all right there. So, this is the crew.
Congratulations to all of you guys. Great job. Are there any trustee comments? All right. Then I will have the Gallatin High students come up as well. And then, Trustee Sandy Wilson has maybe some questions for everybody, a few people, and then we'll read our award as well. So,
well, congratulations. I always look forward, every year these teams come in front of us, and I look forward to seeing these faces. It's just an incredible accomplishment and a wonderful, wonderful experience for you guys. One of my questions is from the seniors. If you choose to answer this, I'm really curious to hear from you what you take from being on the speech and debate team for however long you've been on. What are you going to take into life after this, whatever your next move is? So seniors? I guess I can go first. Okay.
Tommy Meltzer. I'm a senior. I've been on the team for 4 years. And I would say like the biggest thing that I'm definitely taking away from this team is the ability to have good faith discussions with people that you are diametrically opposed with in terms of opinion. In our polarized world nowadays, it's so easy to get inflammatory and argue with people over opinion, but speech and debate builds these skills with which you can have these opinionated discussions without getting argumentative almost immediately.
Thank you. That was a good answer. That was a great answer.
One of the things I think I've taken most from debate is with debate, you have to be ready to debate both sides of an issue. And one of the things I've learned most from debate is how it's important to always be able to see both sides of a topic, no matter where you may stand on it. So no matter where my opinion may stand, I've definitely learned to be able to take both sides of an issue into account.
Yeah, sure. I think one of the main things that I took away from speech and debate, doing it all 4 years, was definitely the speaking aspect of what we do, especially because you have to speak for so long, come up with your own speeches. It's definitely more on the academic side, where you can do more intense research, you can build more intense speeches, and you're not afraid to talk to a large crowd. And I feel like that really would help you with a lot of life skills that most high schoolers don't get if they're not in this sport. So I really think it's really important for people to do this sport.
Yeah, I really agree with Sophie. I think it taught me a lot more self-confidence when I went into it. And I also think I met some really, really amazing people and made some awesome friends. So I'm going to take that into my future as well.
I think that the biggest thing speech and debate taught me was just how much I appreciate the other people that I met through this activity. I had kind of a tearful goodbye at state with the folks that are in the other district in Montana, since we're divided in half. And I'm grateful to see a lot of people that I'm also going to be very sad to miss next year in this room. So I think the people for me is what I've really learned to appreciate.
I think being in speech and debate for the last 4 years has obviously taught me to be a good public speaker, but I also really think it helped me harness my voice and learn how to use that to advocate for what I believe in and like help others. So.
Is that all the seniors that want to speak? Okay. I'm also interested from these also seniors is what might be your next move next year.
Right now, it looks like I'm going to take a quasi gap year, possibly by going to U of M for a year, and then I have a deferred entry offer at Cambridge in the United Kingdom.
I plan on going to a university next year. Not sure which one yet, but I do know I want to major in political science, hopefully on the pre-law track.
I plan on becoming a financial broker at my parents' office, Cannon Financial, right here in Bozeman, Montana.
I'm not sure which college I'm going to go to yet, but I got a forward to Berea College in Kentucky, so that's looking like a pretty good option for me. And I'm also doing, similar to Montana, a political science track with then going into pre-law in the future.
I'm gonna take a gap year and figure things out.
Nice, nice.
I'm gonna major in astrophysics somewhere in college. I don't know where yet.
Okay.
I'm gonna major in international relations and sociology, and I don't know where yet, but probably in the UK.
I don't know where I'm gonna go yet, but right now I'm planning to major in computer science.
I'm going to Colgate University in New York to major in political science and psychology with minors in economics and philosophy.
I haven't committed to school yet, but my top choice is Yale. Got an early action. Majoring in government, hoping to go into law school after that.
I plan to study electrical engineering. I have a couple of colleges that I've applied to, but no decisions have really come out yet. So once I get those decisions, I'll choose an institution.
Well, thank you for that. It is my honor and privilege to bring this resolution forward. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees adopt the following resolution. Whereas the Bozeman High and Gallatin High speech and debate teams participated in the State AA Speech and Debate Tournament held in Kalispell on January 30th, 31st, 2026. And whereas the Bozeman High Hawkers finished as state champions. I've tried really hard to learn everyone's names and how to say them, and please correct me if I don't say them correctly. Team members include Nathan Andecker, Amina Baca-Flores, May Bomberg, Siri Bateson, Claire Becker, Jet Berger, Adam Bukowski, Owen Burnett, Isaiah Carson, Lucy Child, Ray Clark, Lily Krosky, Phoebe Cross, George Dendrinos, Gracie Dice, AJ Edgar, Annabelle Ellis, Reagan Flenty, Sam Funderburk, Tara Nobel, Val Kuntz, Gabby Lucane, Ryan Lofsgarden, Charlie McGeehan, Wyatt McGuire, Thomas Meltzer, River Myers, Charles Morris, Aki Patterson, Natalie Potter, Suni Rabinsky, Emerson Ritter, Penelope Rosso, Solomon Shank, Stetson Stocks, Gabe Stordahl, Pierce Summerhill, Meredith Waterman, Quinn Werner, Cooper White, M. Williamson, and whereas the following students are individual state champions: Rowan Keith and Charlie McGeehan in duo interpretation, Rowan Keith in original oratory, Charlie McGeehan in humorous interpretation, Adam Burkowski, legislative debate, Gallatin High, Sophie Kellum, Lincoln Douglas debate. This will be a moment. We've got to give you all credit for all your hard work. And the following students earned all-state honors at Bozeman High: Rowan Keith, Charlie McGeehan, Rowan Keith, I should say what they were. Rowan Keith and Charlie McGeehan was in duo interpretation. Rowan Keith, original oratory. Charlie McGeehan, humorous interpretation. Ray Clark, am I reading this? I feel like I'm good. Okay, awesome, perfect. Seems like, never mind. Ray Clark, humorous interpretation. Adam Bukowski, legislative debate. Nathan Andecker, legislative debate. Avery Harris and Poppy Kappeman, policy debate. Alex Hansen and Charles Morris, public forum debate. Owen Burnett, extemporaneous speaking. Gabe Stordahl, impromptu speaking. M. Williamson, impromptu speaking. AJ Edgar, memorized public address with analysis. Lucy Child, informative speaking. Gallatin High students: Sophie Kellum, Lincoln Douglas debate. Miles Menders, impromptu speaking. Whereas the following students are national qualifiers and will compete in the National Speech and Debate Association High School Tournament on June 13th through the 20th, 2026 in Richmond, Virginia. Bozeman High students: Rowan Keith and Charlie McGeehan, dual interpretation. River Myers and AJ Edgar, dual interpretation. Rowan Keith, original oratory. Sam Funderburk, original oratory. Charlie McGeehan, humorous interpretation. Ray Clark, humorous interpretation. George Dendrinos, humorous interpretation. Adam Bukowski, congressional debate, Senate. Nathan Andecker, congressional debate, Senate. Mitchell Rast, congressional debate, House. Jet Berger, congressional debate, House. Ryan Lofsgarden, congressional debate, House. And Gabby Lucane and Jetson Stocks, policy debate. May Bomberg and Gracie Dice, policy debate. Alex Hansen and Charles Morris, public forum debate. Wyatt McGuire and Solomon Shank, public forum debate. Cooper White, Lincoln Douglas debate. Gabe Stordahl, international extemporaneous speaking. Tommy Meltzer, United States extemporaneous speaking. Lucy Child, informative speaking and dramatic interpretation. Reagan Flenty, program oral interpretation. Gallatin High students: Ezra Graham, Lincoln Douglas debate. Miles Manders, international and United States extemporaneous speaking. Whereas the following students earned academic All-American honors from the National Speech and Debate Association: Bozeman High students: Nathan Andecker, May Bomberg, Siri Bateson, Adam Burkowski, Lucy Child, Phoebe Cross, AJ Edgar, Rowan Keith, Avery Harris, Alex Hansen, Reagan Flenty, Sam Funderburk, Aubrey Hanson, Poppy Kappeman, Alastair Noble, Val Kuntz, Thomas Meltzer, River Myers, Charles Morse, Emerson Ritter, Gabe Stordahl, Quinn Werner, Cooper White, M. Williamson, and the Gallatin High students, Cole Fisher, Ezra Graham, Montana Quinn, Evelyn Taylor. Therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees recognize and honor the two 2025-2026 speech and debate individual state champions, all state individuals, national qualifiers, and academic All-Americans.
Second.
Motion made by trustee Sandy Wilson, seconded by trustee Neal. Any public comment? All those in favor? Motion passes 7-0. Sandy, that was very impressive on all the names. Good job staying on point. That's not easy. If all of you guys could come up and kind of spread out throughout here, might need to stack up or something like that. We'll get a quick picture, and then this way. Yeah, we don't have a camera that way.
Yeah, we can't have tall people in front of us.
And then
Yep, good.
Ray, if you were up, you'd be as tall as Tommy for one time.
Should have handed those out. They didn't have those.
next item, action items, consent. Looks like we have one action item in the high school. So
Motion to approve consent agenda item 3.3.1.
Second.
Motion made by trustee Neal, seconded by trustee Lucine. Any public comment? All those in favor? Motion passes 7-0. Next is action item singular. 4.1.1, consider approval of non-residential students. Casey.
Thank you, Chair Neal, or Chair Black, excuse me, I'm going back in time. Yeah. What you have before you is an agenda item for non-resident students. There are a variety of pieces to this puzzle. The spreadsheet that's linked in the agenda item kind of walks through that. What you have are 26, 27 applications recommended for approval. As you know, we go through about a month-long open enrollment period where we collect those applications for the following school year. As part of that list, we've sorted it by new applicants to the district, staff requests, and then returning students. You also have two applications that are recommended for denial based upon chronic attendance issues. And then you have one standalone application that is a mid-year transfer. And so that one you're more accustomed to. Those happen on a periodic basis as families move out of the district. We offer them the opportunity to stay through the remainder of the year. With that, I know we have some families in the room. I would ask if any of the families in the room are here because they are wishing to move forward with an executive session for the applications that are recommended for denial. If that's, I do not see that. With that said, I would take any questions from the Board of Trustees. And it's my recommendation that you approve the non-resident student applications as presented.
Any trustee questions or comments? If not, I would entertain a motion. Sandy?
I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation and approve
As presented?
as presented. Yes.
Second.
Motion made by trustee Sandy Wilson, seconded by trustee Dee. Any public comment? All those in favor? Motion passes 7-0. Thank you. Next item, 4.2.1. I think this is Casey. This is you again.
Yeah, thank you, Chair Black. Agenda item is consider approval of girls MHSA high school flag football. The district has been watching this evolve across the state and has been vetting the possibility of adding girls high school flag football in Bozeman for some time. A few important pieces of the puzzle is, as you know, we've had deep conversations in this boardroom around Title IX implications as it related to Title IX in general, as it related to the Ridgeway settlement specific in Montana, in relationship to our conversations around high school baseball. We did our due diligence with district legal counsel, sought a formal opinion on a variety of questions, and I've summarized those in the agenda item. There are some districts in the state that have articulated that when the grant funding runs out, that they're going to proceed with asking families in the community to fundraise for that sport. Legal opinion is that that's highly problematic and would create almost immediate Title IX issues. From the broader Title IX lens, adding girls flag football is greatly advantageous to the district, as it does two things. It decreases our disproportionality that we have at both high schools, and it also increases access for girls in sport, which is the foundational component of Title IX. There's a minor concern related to the fine print in the Ridgeway settlement. The Ridgeway settlement said at the MHSA level they need to offer at least the number of girls' sports that they have in boys' sports. When it moves to the actual high school level, the Ridgeway settlement said that those numbers need to be the same. And so adding girls' flag football would increase we'd have one more girls' sport than we have boys' sports currently, so it would technically be out of compliance with the Ridgeway settlement, but we see, in talking with legal counsel, it would be very bizarre to have a Title IX complaint come forward when we're actually increasing access for females in sport. We've had ongoing positive a couple things. One, we did, as is recommended, we did a participation survey related to the baseball conversation. And I don't have the numbers in front of me, but there was a fair number of students across our middle schools and high schools that, in the questions around what sports do you wish were added, that they signified girls flag football. As you know, in the trustee emails and public comment, we've received a variety of parent, community member, and student interest. So upon vetting the topic and our executive team having lots of conversations about this, we're making a recommendation to move forward with girls flag football in the fall of '26 based upon a few areas. One, student and family interest in response to what we believe is going to be a very positive opportunity for girls in our community. It gives some expanded participation opportunities. As you know, as part of our effort to provide access to girls and to maintain compliance with Title IX, we added freshman B volleyball this fall as a opportunity to increase participation. This would expand participation during that same season in a no-cut sport option. Title IX considerations, I already talked about those. Moving forward positions us positively in terms of Title IX. The minor Ridgeway settlement, which is I don't think it was anticipated to be a stumbling block for things like this, is a non-issue in my opinion. Cost considerations. As an emerging sport, it operates at a relatively modest annual cost compared to other factors. When you take into account equipment needs and uniform needs and how the travel is currently done and how officiating is currently done, it's a relatively low-cost sport. Also important to note that although we went through a $4.1 million reduction recently because we had a structural imbalance in our K-12 budget, that the combination of balancing, taking efforts to balance the budget and increased enrollment at the high school, we're currently operating with a right-sized high school budget. So the relatively low cost fits currently in the high school budget. And then there's also potential for 1 year, possibly more years of grant funding from the Arthur Blank Foundation. We've had some high schools in the state operate multiple years on that grant funding. It's really no crystal ball in terms of how long those funds would last, but it's the current application period, which is due today, I believe, is based upon a 1-year application. And so pending the decision of this board, we would submit that application to the Arthur Blank Foundation for year 1 funding. With that, I'd take any questions you'd have. I also want to thank Mr. Van Vieren, who has spent a lot of time vetting this and working with Mr. Ader, and Mr. Ader gathering costs proposals from around the state of what it's actually costing AA's to run this sport. Mr. Van Vieren also meeting with community members on this and fielding a lot of email traffic. So thank you, Mr. Van Vieren.
Greg.
Yeah, I just also want to thank Mr. Van Vieren and anyone else in executive cabinet who was involved with this process and vetting it out and corresponding with stakeholders, community members. I know there was a lot of communication that came in throughout this process, and appreciate your professionalism and how you dealt with the community, and grateful that we arrived at this recommendation. If there's maybe there's more, I'm prepared to make a motion, but it looks like there's other trustees that are going to comment, so I'll turn it back off here.
I just have a couple questions, and I support this wholeheartedly. It's really interesting how when I start asking former students or young people who are in high school about girls' football, flag football, it's like really important to them, and this is an exciting possibility for them, and I didn't even know it was a thing out there. So I really support this. I'm just curious, where will they play?
Yeah, that's sort of the $1 million question, I think.
Okay.
And I say that semi-jokingly. I think this board has learned that the concept of our proposed one Bozeman concept in 2 high school campuses has become expensive over time, and that we have community and parent expectations that often exceed what our current facilities are. We have learned, and Mark has learned from other high schools, that this is a smaller field and that it's coexisting well on AA campuses and A campuses across the state. So in terms of where they will play. I think it's a variety of areas. I think existing high school softball outfields, existing football fields, existing open soccer fields, existing middle school fields, existing Van Winkle Stadium, all of those pieces of the puzzle are important. I think also the scheduling of this has been done in a way thus far where it takes into account some of those field constraints. And so it happens on different days or on weekends or jamborees or different ways of scheduling it. So it is a minor concern that was raised in our team because of the community expectations around wanting access to turf, that we can't guarantee access to turf for all practices and games.
Okay. I had another question, but I can't think of it. I lost it, I think. But thank you for that.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what, sorry. What other, do all the rest of the AA schools have women's flag football?
I would say it's most at this point.
Most.
I believe that there's a maybe list. I think there's other conversations like this happening in a couple communities, but most of the AAs.
Okay, thank you.
Gary.
Yeah, thank you. I also want to support everybody involved in investigating this and the due diligence put into this. I totally support this. I'm curious what would happen at the middle school level on getting younger girls, or even at the elementary level, of club sports or something in flag football to.
Yeah, that's a good question. That's been part of the conversation with the community members that Mr. Van Buren has been working through, that we would like to see community programming for younger students owned by the community in some way, shape, or form. It's sort of like chicken or egg, some of those conversations where if we launch the high school component, it could spur some of those conversations and build excitement towards playing for the Hawks or the Raptors. At this time, we don't anticipate any middle school programming in this area.
I would just like to add thank you to, I know Mr. Ader and Mike. You guys spend a lot of time. I know a lot of people spend a lot of time on this as well. I would just also encourage, I know you just mentioned it, Casey, is that the people that are super passionate about it, that we got all these emails from. I don't think there has to be a flagship program that runs a youth program. That can be a group of parents getting together and just doing a couple practices a week and having some field space to do it, or a park or whatever. So that can look many different ways. So I would just encourage as many parents that have a great interest in this, and especially at the younger ages, to get together, and it could run for 6 weeks. It could be really simple. It doesn't have to have a brand on it. It doesn't have to. Shirts are cheap, $20 maybe for 2, something like that. But I would just encourage them to do that at a younger age, even if you don't have a flag or a ship or somebody that's actually sponsoring it. So that would be my comment on this. I do think this is a great opportunity to add to what we're offering. Also, I think most of the schools, until baseball came, were out of balance with girls' sports, with having softball. So that doesn't seem to be a problem. So that doesn't really concern me very much at this point in time either. So I don't think there's any other comments from the trustees, so I would just entertain a motion. Greg, I think you said.
Motion to approve the superintendent's recommendation as presented.
Second.
Flag football.
Motion made by trustee Neal, seconded by trustee Moran. Any public comment? All in favor? Motion passes 7-0. All right, thank you. Next item, board discussion. 5.1.1, discussion of recommended policy revisions.
Thank you, Chair Black. What you have in front of you are a variety of policy recommendations, most of them from MTSBA model policy updates. As you know, you approved a bunch of those post-legislative session. Some of these are tied to later effective dates of bills, and so they didn't come out in the first wave. And also, you should know that this is roughly half of the policies that we were churning on. And so to get some of these moving forward, the ones that we were settled on, we have put in this package. So I will just give you the highlights. So 1401, which is really 4330, is around House Bill 100 regarding fees that may be charged by public agencies for fulfilling a public records request. This one had a ton of changes, and for ease of avoiding all kinds of red lines, we just started over. And so it's a brand new, basically rewrite of the policy to align it with law and align it with the MTSBA model policy. 3150 is part-time enrollment. MTSBA made clarifying changes to make it more consistent with the law. Part-time enrollment of a student is required under Montana law. Enrollment in a specific class or a section is not guaranteed, and so it strengthens some of that language, addresses our ability to put capacity limits on things. 3610 and 3610P are not legislative changes. Those are changes that we've been churning on the executive team for a couple of reasons. One, that's the equity policy that doesn't use the word equity in it. That has served us well over time. We're not suggesting any changes to the equity portion, the beginning of that policy. What we found and what we are living is that that policy references multi-tiered systems of support. It doesn't reference the collaboration piece, the professional learning communities piece. The whole foundational framework of what we do pre-K-12 is braiding together those components. It's everything that we do pre-K-12 on the academic side and the social, emotional, behavioral side. So it's strengthening that language and really calling out that braiding together is, at this point in time, the foundation of the district's instructional framework for delivering instruction, teaching, and learning. The other piece is we don't usually bring procedures forward, but we are bringing the decision-making filter, which is 3610P. We've had some really thoughtful conversations around items like girls' flag football. It didn't fit the previous decision-making filter because that filter was so focused on academic achievement. So we've changed the three filters to align it more broadly with the long-range strategic plan. And so if it's tied to any of the goal areas in the long-range strategic plan or the profile of a graduate and or the core values of the district. So like Mr. Waterman was having good conversations around, for example, investing district dollars to ensure that our buildings are maintained clean. And investing dollars in custodial. Didn't fit the previous filter. It's still important to us operating a high-quality school district, but it's directly tied to the core values in the long-range strategic plan. And so we've change some of those categories, not to make everything stick, but to make sure that all of the things we do in support of that mission and that are captured on that two-page mission, vision, values, and goals statement is part of the decision-making process. So, for example, girls' flag football and all of our extracurricular activities, speech and debate, you could draw clear lines to the profile of a graduate. And you just saw examples of that in front of you where students in speech and debate are accomplishing many of those things, being civic-minded, engaging in complex problem solving, all of those pieces of the puzzle. So it's just some updates there to the procedure. We wanted you to see that procedures don't need to be approved by the board. Okay, a couple more. 3655, updated from House Bill 745, and initiation of the rulemaking process. It has to do with fingerprints and fingerprint background checks. 5015 is a bullying, harassment, intimidation personnel policy, and it's intended to clarify that the district can't go after things that are out of the jurisdiction. So, for example, there have been examples across the state of parents making inflammatory Facebook or social media posts about a teacher. The teacher says it's a violation of the district policy of bullying, harassment, and intimidation, but the district has no jurisdiction over parent email, Facebook, social media accounts, and when any of those things have been adjudicated, it's often a First Amendment right for families. So it clarifies the jurisdiction of that policy. 5122 is fingerprint criminal background investigations. Again, a lot. It was a small shift where the state moved away from the ability to do name-based background checks, where we were using BIB and lots of, which is a name-based national background check search. It requires fingerprint background checks. That was and then it went to OPI rulemaking. That was a small legislative tweak that had major ramifications for our district and for districts across the state, where our HR department was literally spending early on 80-90% of their week accommodating fingerprints. It also put pressure on the local sheriff's department and police department and MSU and others that are doing fingerprints. That's the gist of this round of policy changes. Again, some of them are based upon legal changes and could happen in one reading, but because we have others mixed in, we are bringing it as a package for discussion tonight, and it'll come back as a singular action later.
Any comments, Gary?
Yeah, thanks, Casey. I have a question on 5015.
Okay.
Is that, do individuals, teacher or administrator, or even trustees, have the legal option of suing somebody for slander and something like that? Do you know?
So in general, our district insurance would not cover something like that. It plays defense, never really goes on the offense. I think private individuals could go after parents or community members for that. What I've learned through that process is typically anything said on social media is protected. There's First Amendment protections for the person saying it. So I don't know that they would be successful doing that.
Thanks.
Any other comments or questions? Sarah?
As I was looking through the document, I was just so impressed with the amount of work that you guys put into 3610 and 3610P. Like, I just thought that it was very specialized for our district, but I just appreciated the level of attention to those sections. I thought it was extraordinary. And then when we talked about the background checks, do we know how many people have gone through our system? You know what I mean, that we now have fingerprinted? Because it's a lot. I can only
Pat
imagine.
Strauss would tell you it's everybody in Bozeman. It's not, it's not everybody in Bozeman, but it's in the hundreds. Yeah.
Hundreds.
Hundreds.
All right, any other questions or comments? All right, thank you for bringing this forward, and we'll look forward to it now, is it a consent agenda item next time? Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, all right. All right, moving on. Item 6, public comment on non-agenda items. Are you sure, Ezra? You don't want to put your speech and debate hat on and just throw out some things? No? All right. Okay. Moving on to 7. Reports, executive cabinet reports.
The only thing I'll mention, I mentioned it to trustees earlier, is we had a fully engaged crisis response at Bozeman High today, and because a staff member's child was involved, also minor crisis response at Sacagawea Middle School. We also had, for the first time, like a really great presence of therapy dogs. We usually get 1 or 2, but we had, I don't know what the total was, but there were 3 or 4. One was huge. Yeah. Yeah. Different dogs coming and going, and that was really well received. I want to publicly acknowledge that Johanna Burtkin and her team. I don't know another district that does what we do in those situations in terms of the level of detail that's happening behind the scenes of, just so you know, I'll give you a little glimpse of it. Staff are made aware of the full situation, and then they have a link to a form. And so any students that are showing distress are put in the form. Trained professionals are meeting with those students, making parent contact that they've met with those students, following up with those students. Same thing happening with staff members that are showing stress, and behind the scenes, there's a whole team managing these documents and updating. And we don't get to everybody, but the ones that we know about that are showing some externalizing behaviors, we're checking in with those folks. I think that's all I'll say with that. Answer any questions you have, but I'm if you see Johanna, very appreciative of that team and our SROs and Mike and Marilyn and everyone that rallies on the weekend, drops everything they're doing to ensure that Monday morning our kids are loved on.
Any other reports? Casey, thank you for that update, and I think we all appreciate all the efforts that go into it and all the planning behind and the immediate reaction and put into action for our community. So I know that's greatly appreciated. So thank you, and thank everybody that's involved in that. All right, next 7.2, any board trustee requests, calendar concerns, reports, meeting. Sandy.
Well, I went to, I'm the liaison to the Bridger Charter School. So I went and spent some time in the classrooms and then just hung out with Dan for a while and just asked questions about that. What an amazing program. It just makes me so proud every time I visit with kids, visit with the teachers that are working with those kids. It's a very precious program to me and to a lot of families and kids. And I'm looking forward to, I have that in Gallatin High, and I'm going to visit clubs. Because I'm a high school trustee, I usually get high schools to go to. And I've never been to any of the clubs, so I'm going to stop by and check out the clubs, and then also visit some of their collaborative team meetings on Wednesday morning coming up in the next month. So.
Thank you. Any other updates? All right. I'll adjourn this meeting.